All right, folks, from the billion-shilling pledges to the promises of inclusion, Homo Bay's Devolution conference was billed as a game changer. But beyond the big speeches that were given and beyond the fanfare, the pomp and everything else, who won and who lost? And what exactly are Kenyans taking away from that conference? Tonight, we are here with a wonderful panel of people, all of them full of insight, here to share with us what they think about this wonderful topic. Good people, the People's Court is in session, and we begin right now. Lady and gentlemen, karibuni sana.
Thank you.
All right. Now, good people at home and wherever it is you're watching us from, if you wish to participate in this wonderful conversation, here's how you do it. There is a QR code at the bottom of the screen, the lower third of the screen. That QR code is for you. Please scan it and you'll get a question there. You can be able to share your feedback and share your answer to the question that we're asking tonight. This is something that will help us understand what you have to say. You can ask questions to the people in studio and as well as vote, or rather make the poll active, and I'll be able to sample it as we proceed. Other than that, 22047 is the SMS line, as well as our WhatsApp number, which will also be at the bottom of the screen, all for your viewing and engagement pleasure. With that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful group of people, like I said. Allow me to introduce them as I ask them a question so that we keep the conversation going. Ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Karibuni sana. Now, I want us to look at this conversation in a different way from how perhaps other people have looked at this. I want us to actually understand what actually happened in Homo Bay. And I want to start with you, Kevin. Of course, Kevin Osido is a well-known governance expert. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Kevin, beyond the fanfare, what's the single most important policy or perhaps governance takeaway from Homo Bay, and why?
Thank you so much. One of the most important things that happened in Homo Bay was to have governments sit down and engage in progressive policy and legislative conversations. And one big takeaway for me is the war on graft and the seriousness that has come with the war on corruption, particularly at both national and county government levels. And this is something that was reiterated by almost every quote-unquote high-level speaker who spoke at the conference, beginning by the president. We had the PS from the Attorney General's office also, bringing out some of the concerns that have been raised, particularly with regards to delays of corruption cases. I was utterly amazed when I heard her say that now there is a law that is being put in place to ensure that no corruption case goes beyond 6 months. And we have been with you here in this studio when we decry, the manner in which corruption cases are handled. So we hope that this is going to be a promise to be lived. Some of those promises have been made over and over again, particularly around concerns that have got to do with the full devolution of functions from national to county governments. The president, I think, was making that promise a 4th time. And so we are hoping that really the political goodwill that was seen in Homo Bay is going to be moved further into actionable points. And one thing that I believe is has really to be a promise that has to be kept is a kind of conversations that we saw in Homo Bay. Cabinet secretaries were present there. PSS were present. We saw governors, we saw CEC members engaging on very critical concerns. One thing that baffles me about devolution is, why must we wait for conferences for us to have good conversations? Must we wait for a conference that happens in a biennial after every 2 years for concerns to be done? And we had a number of side events. And as County Governance Watch, we are glad because we launched 2 reports in Homo Bay. One is a FLOCA report, together with our partners, PACJA, Kenya Platform for Climate Governance, VSO, and ActionAid. This is a report that really is people-driven, and it's bringing out concerns around climate change and huge amounts of monies that are going to the ground. And the second report that was also launched by the National Council for Persons with Disabilities is how PWDs, persons with disabilities, have been mainstreamed into governance. But now, as I finish, is the beauty about this is that you get, in those side events, you get to sit with governors. You get to sit with principal secretaries. You get to sit with high-level officials who in normal circumstances, even in their counties, you might not very easily find them. But the Devolution Conference now brings them together, and we are able to sit together and agree. And finally, I saw counties signing MOUs with their partners. The biggest takeaways, particularly wins for counties around partners that have immense commitments, immense contributions, immense investments for county governments. Those are things that happened in Homa Bay. And for the first time, civil society organizations sat at those tables, something that we have followed for the past 8 conferences. And cracking COG over those years have been a nightmare to us. But finally, we got an opportunity to be acknowledged, to be given spaces, and indeed to inform policy and legislation for devolved governance in this country.
All right, we'll come back, and I do have a question about the content of those reports.
Sure.
And particularly, what has happened to all the other reports, the wonderful reports that have been launched previously. We'll come back to that in a second. Allow me to introduce our second guest and our second question. Dismas Mokua is a political risk analyst. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Mary.
Of course, in such an event, politics is not too far away. So politically, who walked away from Homa Bay stronger? Is it the governors? Is it the MPs, the MCAs, or the president? And who walked away weaker? Name names. Karibu sana.
Obviously, I'm not going to name names, but...
or give us strong enough hints for us to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, Kevin has painted a very good picture of what happened in Homa Bay from a civil society. But when you look at the theme of the conference, it was about people and prosperity. And it's very clear from the participants that everybody attended the meeting, save for the people, for Mora, for Njoki, or for Alima.
Atieno.
Yeah, for Atieno. So there were high-level conversations, and one may actually describe it that it was there was an element of incest, because you are having people who are meeting on a regular basis, having conversations around Mora, but Mora is not in the picture to give our views. And when you look at this concept of devolution, and you're talking about lunars and you're talking about winners and losers, although philosophically that may be a bit complicated, but let's look at devolution. 11 years later, we have seen 3.6 trillion going to the counties 11 years later. But if you go to majority of the counties, you'll be looking for that 3.6 million Kenyan shillings, and you're not going to trace it. But the president came up and spoke about corruption, and the majority of the leaders, President Ruto spoke about corruption, and Honorable Musalia Mudavadi delivered a very strong paper around governance, and they raised fundamental issues that most of these county government and county assemblies have got challenges, and all oversight or governance institutions in Kenya have raised eyebrows. The control of budgets, every single day, she's raising questions around county governments and county assemblies. The Auditor General every single day raising eyebrows, and the Anti-Corruption Commission every single day. Now, the issue that you are supposed to be addressing in these county fora or this devolution conference is whether or not devolution has given us effective and efficient county governments. That question was not answered. So the winner here would be all the people who arrived in Homa Bay with top-of-the-range vehicles. And for a Kenyan who wanted to know the latest arrivals in Kenya, all you needed to do was to go to Homa Bay, and you will see all top-of-the-range vehicles. Others were putting up in Homa Bay, others were putting up in Kisumu. Now, the losers is Mora, because when you look at the expenditure of that conference, and according to media reports, some of the county assemblies and governments had nice exhibitions, but you'd find fish, you'd find honey, you'd find necklaces, and you're wondering that all these years after devolution, some county governments and assemblies, with alacrity, they bring fish. That's according to media reports. I did not get to attend because I was not invited. But what were the displays all about? So those would be the losers. And Musalia Mudavadi said the threat to devolution is corruption. And it would be interesting to establish from the MCAs and county speakers whether, in fact, they've got capacity and competence to oversight county governments. And you remember the Senate has been doing that, and that has created bad blood between the Senate as well as Mr. Raila Odinga. And Mr. Raila Odinga has gone to the top of Mount Kenya and said, wait a minute, county governments and county assemblies, let the county assemblies do the oversight. But it would be interesting to establish whether or not the speakers here in, as well as the MCAs, whether in fact they've got capacity and competence to do that oversight, whether or not, at the national level we talk about state capture, whether or not the counties are not under, the county assemblies are not under county capture, and whether or not they do not dance to the drum beats of the governors. And maybe at some stage you can take a poll from the MCAs and speakers here, whether a number of them consulted their governors before coming here to align their talking points, or whether in fact they can speak whatever they want to speak and go home without getting a call from one of their bosses. But talking about some of the governors who've come out shining, I mean, it's important to give credit where it's due. You can talk about Governor Kimani Wamatangi, understand he's doing a marvelous job in Kiambu, despite the fact that he has to fight cartels as well as special interest groups. You can even talk about Governor Simbarati. But other governors were accused in a remote manner. You recall President Ruto saying that a governor checked in to the Senate with 150 million bob, understand in cash. Now, this 150 million bob, before the advent of devolution, is a figure that the majority of Kenyans would not put their hands around. They wouldn't even understand this. But with devolution, we are told governors still with alacrity. In fact, a recent audit done from a 5-year audit done says that a majority of these governors employ their cousins, their uncles, their aunts, and everybody else into these positions of power. There is payroll mismanagement. Now, if the county assembly is at capacity and competence, then they should have picked these ones out. Why do we need a special audit from Nairobi to identify weaknesses in specific counties? So in my view, while devolution is a very good thing, because if it's made to be effective and efficient, then Mora gets to enjoy the benefits of a superior medical facility in Kisii called Kisii Teaching, Research and Referral Hospital. But if you've got a governor from a certain county who doesn't even know the number of advisors in his office. I mean, you remember the Senate. There's a governor, I think Governor Guyo. He has no idea of the number of advisors advising him. When the senators are asking questions, it's as if he's drunk, very cold water. He can't even speak. He cannot address anybody at a Senate hearing, but wait and see him at a public rally. You will be surprised. The decibels are so amazing. So you begin to wonder, what's wrong with Kenyans? But the conclusion is, Kenyans, for some reason, we want good governance, but we elect bad governors. We want good leadership. We elect bad leaders.
I wonder why.
And then we sit back. It would be many things. Some of these MCAs and speakers, when they begin to speak here, they'll convince you that right now it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Their capacity to manipulate Kenyans is amazing. And that is something that most politicians have.
They're here. I'm sure they'll want to respond to that.
Given to what I'm saying, I'm going to be in trouble.
Right. And in fact, we're going to one of them. Joining us from Makueni County is Madam Joyce, Honorable Joyce Mwende. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Very well.
How are the people of Makueni?
Very okay.
Excellent. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Makueni is often cited as a devolution model for quite some time now. Now, were you in Homa Bay, by the way?
Yeah.
Did you hear anything new in Homa Bay? Or would you say, as what a lot of Kenyans are saying, counties are just recycling old promises?
Yeah, actually there was a lot to learn in the Devolution conference. You'll agree with me that it was a moment for people to learn, governments to learn also from peer governments, what they are doing. And we came home with a lot that you can come and practice in our own county.
Right.
And also we had a moment to showcase how our governance works in Makueni, like the model of public participation on all projects. It's a model that people should learn because it is enabling counties to give better service delivery to the people, to the common mwananchi. And it's a good thing that other counties can also learn. So Devolution Conference gives that a chance for other governors to learn from other governments of counties on their models, what they are doing, maybe things that can help their people. And we might be making baby steps in devolution, but eventually we are going to be there. I trust we'll get there.
All right, all right. Now, Mr. Mukuo mentioned something, and it's a question I think we all need to answer, and for the gentleman as well. Do you believe that MCAs have the capacity and competence for oversight, particularly to the governors and all matters counties, as he raised?
Yeah, MCAs are doing quite a lot, though they need also to be enabled better.
In what way?
Because you can imagine you are oversighting a CEO, HCM, who is earning quite much, and an executive that we have to request them to finance us in most of the things because of the budget ceilings of the assemblies. And we didn't have autonomy. Actually, you are asking whether it was a win, because it is for the first time that during the devolution conference, we were given the county assemblies of autonomy. That was not there. So with that, I know we are going to get better and to be able to do a good oversight to the executive.
Is it, Victor, I'd like to disagree that it's not just about the issue of the salary. I mean, the government would be having whatever X and the MCAs are earning Y, but we should not use the salary alone to say that because we earn 20% of the governor's salary, therefore we have no capacity nor competence to ensure that there is accountability. In my view, that would be assaulting morale and assaulting morale's expectations.
Fair enough, but there's a question here about...
But you only said, for example, which
yeah, that's what I want to say.
Other reasons.
You've not called me.
It's all right. One moment. You were saying?
Now, I was saying that Mheshimiwa Joyce said, for example,
not
CCs
everything
are earning. So there could be several other reasons. And she went further and said, MCAs need to be capacitated. So you see, there are issues that make them probably not very effective insofar as accountability is concerned.
Can we actually delve into some of those issues, if you may? I'll pick something. I'll pick one of the things you mentioned.
Financial autonomy.
Yes,
we didn't have a financial autonomy.
Talk to me about that. So on one hand, you have to oversight somebody whom you have to go back to tomorrow to Sweet Talk to fund your project. How do you manage that balance? And what other areas would you say need attention to be able to allow you to have proper autonomy, proper oversight?
No, the whole thing will depend on the leadership that is in that county government. Because if you can see, there have been also wrangles in many issues to do with the governors and the MCAs. That is where they are not agreeing on better practice model on how they are going to give service delivery to their people. And that is where there are issues arising. But where the governor is working well with the MCAs, you won't find those issues. They will be able to sort that in the county level, and it will not even come up to the national level, to the Senate or another place.
I see.
But you see, Victor, one of the most important things, which is a win, and I'm sure that the speakers who are here will talk about it, is this County Assembly Financial Autonomy Act now that the President signed in Homa Bay. And why this is very, very critical is because it really elevates the role of oversight of county assemblies, particularly because in the previous dispensation or in previous dispensations, we have seen county assemblies having to get their budget for both development in terms of operations of the assembly and also recurrent from the executive.
Right.
And over time, we have seen, for instance, the mismanaged accountability by certain county governments where they have to sway in MCAs by telling them, you know, there is a workshop you have planned. If you don't pass my budget, you want to go to Mombasa, we'll not take you to Dubai. Now, that particular law deals heavily with that kind of a mismanagement. So why it is an autonomy, particularly to the county assemblies, is because in the same manner that the executive will be able to do their budgets, the county assemblies will also be able to sit and agree on how much money they get and even the path that that money has to go through, so that they now have power to plan even on matters of capacity building that Mheshimiwa Joyce is talking about, issues of technical assistance. They can choose to decide and say, we want to get Kevin Osido to come and help us understand control of budget reports, help us understand the Auditor General reports. And then so we put together a proper curriculum, we put together a proper training, and we ensure that they have requisite knowledge in terms of how they can be able to hold accountable. In previous or in the most recent past, that was not easy because you have to really justify. Why do you want to understand those budgets? Why do you want to understand those reports? So that, okay, you come and ask us questions. So there are many things that we know that would not sell. And we are hoping that now members of county assemblies and county assemblies will be much more thorough insofar as responding to the accountability questions that Mokua Dismas is talking about, so that the strength of assemblies is also seen, number one. Number two is a legislative aspect. Okay. You know, there are so many things that executive is doing that are also attached to budgets that a lot of times do not even pass through the county assembly. Now, with that kind of an autonomy, it manages or rather gives the county assemblies an opportunity to sit back and ask themselves, what kind of laws do we want to pass? If you ask these members, how many county assembly members have actually proposed bills in their assemblies? We have done an audit and the number is disturbing. But with this kind of funding, a boost for legislation is given to the assembly. So where they can be able to research, it doesn't have to be the mawaziris. Basically the bills being emanated or generating from the executive. But as members, they can get their own technicians, they sit together, do proper research, and then propose what is called an individual member's bill, so that they don't have to perennially wait for the executives to present those bills or proposals to the assembly. But because they are here, they are better. They better speak.
Indeed. Now, across the country and in some of the news reports, speakers are coming under quite a lot of fire. But tonight we have two speakers in the building, and we have Honorable Speaker from Kisumu County. How are you, sir?
I'm okay, sir.
Honorable Oraro, karibu sana. You had a point to make on this.
Yes, I wanted to debunk on the matter that Dismas was talking about. Two things. One, on the issue of devolution in Homa Bay County, I personally attended all the days, and I can confirm here that I've attended the last 7 devolution conferences. It's unfortunate that Dismas is presenting his case on a rumor. I personally visited around 30 booths that the different countries were displaying.
There was no fish?
There was fish, yes, but we have to look at it in a different perspective. What's the need for bringing fish there? There could have been a reason, because we agree that value addition is one area that the county governments must work on. Fish is one item that you find across a number of...
the blue economy.
That is it. It falls under the blue economy. And to what extent are we having a value addition in terms of blue economy or in terms of fish? So we should avoid talking about rumors. We talk about exact thing that we saw. Number two, I can confirm to you that devolution works. And that one was demonstrated well in Homa Bay County. The reason why I'm saying this one, the fact that the local Mwananchi ask about so many things, ask about roads, ask about education, that means there is a lot of information that has penetrated the local Mwananchi. And they see it in the neighboring ward or the neighboring county. That's why they ask for it. Yeah? So for me, on my take is that devolution has worked. And if there is anything that the inventors of the devolution, the Constitution 2010 scored in, is that part on devolution. And it's the way to go. So it has succeeded. And I think there are a few elements that needs to be worked on.
Actually,
there's this topic of corruption.
On that point, just before we come back to that, a quick one. I'm informed we need to take a short break. I understand everyone needs a sip of water and all that. But just a quick one before and we'll come back to you when we come back. Talk to me about this. You've attended, you said, at least 7 devolution conferences. Would you say 3 things that were new and unique about the Homa Bay one compared to the others? Number one, the Homa Bay one brought different stakeholders. And you heard even Kevin saying that for the first time, the civil society got an opportunity to present their case well. Number two, the kind of arrangement that we had in Homa Bay was different from what I saw before. The side events were very useful, and they gave an opportunity for the governors and the stakeholders to engage. And there were MOUs that were signed as a result of the discussions on the side shows.
Number 3 is that it was a reflection, 12 years into devolution. So they are looking at what happened from year 1 to the 12th year. It's like accumulation of what has happened previously. This has not happened before. It's the first time that we saw it in Homa Bay. Then when the closing was done, there were resolutions that were done. One of them, there is that feeling that there is need to develop legal and institutional frameworks to enhance good governance in counties. With proper legal and institutional framework, it doesn't matter who is the governor. It doesn't matter who is the MCA. It doesn't matter who is the county executive committee member.
All right.
Whoever comes in will plug into those particular legal frameworks and institutional frameworks. So it's about good governance. When you have good governance, there will be 100% success in devolution.
All right, fair enough. We'll come back to you on the matter of corruption, including your brother speaker from the county of Kitui. We want to take a short break. We'll be right back after these messages. Please keep your comments coming in. On the ones who are watching on YouTube, we're monitoring the YouTube live comments. We'll be able to sample your feedback, ask your questions to your leaders. They're here. Those of you who are sending in your feedback through the QR code, it's coming in fast and hot, and we shall be able to sample that as well after these messages.